Aloha, everyone. Pretty decent day once again for the overall stock market. We did pull back from the session highs, but volume was below average on both the exchanges and lower than the session before on the NASDAQ. So overall, everything is fine. Even better, very few stocks triggered any kind of stop adjustment signals today following my scans, and I only had three partial sell signals and one full sell signal that we'll go over. And even though there is only one high quality long position, there are a lot of regional bank stocks that have beautiful technical patterns starting to form. If they start to curl and turn higher, to go along with the materials and construction and transportation stocks that have really nice chart patterns out there, we're looking pretty good. It's hard to find too much wrong with this market. I mean, everything's working. I can't even raise capital for new long positions. I have quite a few speculative long positions, but once again, I got to keep everything tiny. My commissions are small. I need to remind everyone that if you pay over $5 per trade, and if you're not putting at least $1,000 in each signal, you should never have more than 10 positions, 10% of your capital in each. Never, ever, ever going over 10 stocks. I trade like a mini hedge fund. I'm capitalized. I have $1 commissions per trade. If I make 7 trades in, that costs me $7. If you pay $7 in commissions, 7 trades in is $49. You're really starting to swing behind the ball if you have a small account size. So get those commissions to $5 or under, and or 10 stocks, 10%, 5 stocks, 20%, tight stops. So for instance, today I have only that one new high quality long position, FBNC. Show you really quick just how I determine something's CAN-SLIM or not. I go here to the stock checkup for FBNC, see that it has a 90 composite rating. Anything over 90 I start to flag as potential CAN-SLIM. I go down to the ratings. I see that they're all above 90 for EPS. Relative strength is above 82. Green light, only 2 yellows. I mean, this is CAN-SLIM. Confirmation, come over here, see earnings percent, EPS percent change, most recent quarters 33%. Sales change 53%. If this was kind of all convoluted, there was some big growth here and there or some fundamentals that were looking iffy here and there, I then go to MarketSmith and I go deeper into the analysis, which everyone should do on every new long position. But for here, this general overview is good enough. It's number 5 in the Bank Southeast group. It's got a 90 composite rating. It's definitely CAN-SLIM quality. So with the above average volume move back through the 50-day moving average, with BOP higher than the session before, which was a rarity today. If most of these regional bank stocks that look great, if they moved higher today, printing a candle over candle like you see here, BOP either stayed the same or went down. And if BOP stayed the same, I was okay with that if there was above average volume, but not one single stock had above average volume. So that's why FBNC is the only CAN-SLIM quality new long position. Now it's a CAN-SLIM quality stock, so that's a 2% signal. It was in my price volume BOP scan, so that's another 1%. So it's a 3% total signal. If you're me, I'm just telling you what I'm doing. If you decide to take this and you don't have a lot of capital, then it's a one trade, 10% of your capital each, and you obey the most recent support level. This thing works right away and you start making money or you get the hell out. A lot of traders I notice, if the first cut loss level fails, they're then waiting for my second and final cut loss level to come into play, even though I repeat over and over, if this first stop loss level fails on FBNC before this final recommended cut loss level comes into play, if it loses its green BOP catalyst or does it on heavier volume, or hell, if it does it on lower volume and the market's looking sick, I am raising all of my stops higher. I do not let losses grow. I keep all losses very small. So we'll go over the sell signals here in a bit. So really quick, FBNC, want to get long, limit order 37, the high of the day, because it's not extended from the 50 or the 20-day moving average. First cut loss level, you can do this level right here, 35.94. Or you could do this level right here, 35.70, which will be my first cut loss level. And then my final cut loss level for now is 34.07. If 35.70 goes on heavier volume, 34.07 will never come into play. So just keep that in mind. The most you risk in this trade, if you use the first stop level, is 2%. I am looking for a measured move, possibly from the previous November lows to the current November highs of 90%. If we even get half of that, and let's say we just get this little uptrend move right here. So let's just say that this is going to be best case scenario. That's a potential 27% gain to an inherent risk of 2%. That is greater than 10 to 1 reward risk ratio. All I ever look for is 4 to 1. So it's a pretty safe signal, but then if you want to get really technical, you'll see that it's close to its 20, 10, and 5, but is the 5 above the 10 above the 20, and are all of the moving averages trending up? No. So is it completely safe? No. It's safe, but it isn't perfect. I can't remember the last time I've seen a damn perfect chart. This isn't one of them, but it's pretty darn good with the reward risk ratio. So keep all of that in mind if you decide to go long FBNC. Now, since that's the only long position and there's a few sell signals, let's go ahead and go over those since we don't do that often here, because we just don't have time with all these damn buy signals, I mean. So ALGN is printing a 50% sell signal. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the stocks I am long list. You can see I'm tracking an insane amount of stocks, 260. I am not long 260 because, for instance, we're going to go over ALGN. I'm already completely out. I moved all of since I didn't have a whole lot of shares, my final sell stop was right here, this gap up low a day. So this big swoon right here knocked me out of all of it. However, if I still had any shares, my final sell stop, because of this ugly candle on huge volume in red BOP, would have been this low a day right here. It would have been 222.74. So whenever ALGN trades below 222.74 today, I'm out. But with it closing at 218.76, with this being a website based on end-of-day sell signals, this is the first time ALGN has closed below its 50-day moving average on above average volume since the buy signal was all the way back here in July, hence that little white arrow you see here. There is still a current 43% gain, so this is only a 50% sell signal. It's only made 2 series of lower highs, 2 series of lower lows. If this break right here would have been following a series of 3 lower highs and 3 lower lows, it's a 100% sell signal. But as it is, it's only 50% on an end-of-day basis, but I don't have any anymore, so I'm not even long this stock anymore. So once again, it's a stock I'm tracking, but not a stock I'm long. The next sell signal is 3M Company, MMM. It's closing below its 20-day moving average and its December lows on above average volume. Since we still have a gain in this stock, it's still up around 3%. If this move would have been below its 20-day moving average on above average volume, but above this December support level right here, it would not have been a 50% sell signal. But because it's violated not only one key support level, the 20-day moving average, not only 2 support levels, the recent support here, but also an uptrend line right there, it's an easy 50% sell signal on MMM. Now, once again, I am not long MMM. I went long MMM here, but only kept 1 stop here because I couldn't buy a whole lot of shares because I'm fully invested. It failed immediately intraday on 11:15, knocking me all out of it. So I don't have a position in MMM, but it's a 50% sell signal. Now, Koru, this chart's wrong thanks to a dividend. You have to go look at it at stockcharts.com, but it's closing below the 50-day moving average on above average volume. It's still holding this December low, so it's a 50% end-of-day sell signal. But my final sell stop is this December lows. You got to go look at stockcharts.com for the right level. If it fails this with Koru, I'll be completely out. Now, if it fails it intraday and then moves back higher, I'll still be tracking Koru, but you will know I'm completely out. And CDNS, this was the long signal. The low a day of the long signal is 42.99. It immediately failed with strong price velocity. So that's a full sell signal on the end of day basis for CDNS. Now the issue is I had 3 stops. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. What do I do now? For me, it's simple. So it's a full sell signal on the end of day basis because it's failed the signal date's low a day with extremely strong negative price velocity closing near the low of the day. Even though volume isn't above average, it doesn't have to be. The price velocity of the downside is so strong relative to the rest of my holdings. This is an outlier. This is the weakest one of the group, so it's got to go. Now, you can see BOP's been growing each day, so I like it. So if it reverses and holds these recent lows, I want to stay long. But since it has failed the first low and it's basically killed its overall setup, I am removing my stops back here at these October lows, and I now have one and final cut loss level at 42.22. If CDNS trades below 42.22 intraday tomorrow, I will be completely out of CDNS. If CDNS holds 42.22, I will remain long CDNS, and even though it's a full sell signal and will no longer be tracked on the website, I'll still be tracking it in this list because I'm still long. Now, if it shoots lower intraday, then rallies higher and trends higher, I will no longer be following it because it's a 100% end of day signal and it will fail my stop. There will be no reason to follow it and it will be removed from this list. So that's how this list works right here. Okay, everyone, long video lesson, but I wanted to go over the sell signals, how it works. CDNS was a little tricky because if BOP's growing, lower volume. So what do you do when it fails the final cut loss level or the entry day signals cut loss level? Well, you just use still rational support levels. You don't do anything irrational. You don't use today's low a day as the final stop. You use that support low as the final stop. All right, I'll see everyone in the chat room on Friday. Aloha.